good morning. Good morning, everyone. How are you all this morning? I can't tell you what a pleasure it is to be back on a Sunday morning and talking to my friends. And of course, those of you who are new are thinking, well, okay, fine. But this is about recycling. And I know that's not a really big, star-studded, big, glitzy subject, like what's on the news today, but it's near and dear to my heart, and I guess it's because I've been recycling for probably 50 plus years, and I think, well, I wonder how I got started. I don't even remember back that far, and I'm 75, so it was probably, maybe I was 22, 23, and I started, I'd see trash or something and I'd go over and I'd pick it up. And people would say, oh, gee, don't do that, that's dirty. You never know where that's been. That was my mother's line. Oh, don't touch that, you never know where it's been. And I think, well, then carry a Kleenex with you and use that Kleenex as your outer fingers and throw something away. And so I still do that. Not always. I mean, if it looks really gooey, I'm not going to pick it up. But I have tried over the years to take what I could do and break it down and give it either give it another life, or try to pass it on to someone else, or try to make it new again. Last Sunday was our wedding anniversary. Rick and I have been married for 52 years. We're old. And he was lovely enough to bring home some flowers. We had a flower shop for about 16 years. It seems like it was a lifetime, but it was really only that period of time. And I was always arranging flowers before that. When we got our shop, then it was a business. We sold the business in 1996, and so, it's been 29 years since we sold our shop, and still he thinks that if he brings home flowers, I'm going to want to, put on the apron, pull out the knife, and do it again. It's fine. I do it, and I think, okay, well, I can still make a nice vase arrangement in my Waterford cut glass vase, and he's happy. Oh, that's so pretty, So it's all good, but anyway, those flowers will then go into the compost. I'm not sure. I see people do that, and I think, you are putting preservative in the water. I'm not exactly sure what that chemical is that's in the preservative, but I'm not sure I would feed that to my worms. I don't think it's a natural item, but I'd have to research that. And so all the things that we recycle. And how did I get into it? Well, just by doing it. And the more you hear, the more ideas that you have that you think, this has to be lost on someone else because they maybe didn't hear it. We all know that we throw away our paper goods, and your recycling, you could either chop that up and make it shred, like I have there at the end, or you could layer it and put your fruit and vegetable peels. This is a banana peel that I had in the freezer, and so the cell walls will break down faster once it's been frozen, and if there were any fruit flies or anything on it, then they will go, they'll die. Sweet potato skins, there's the bananas again. I have a friend, he keeps making a video and he goes, here's a banana that we threw away, and I think, wow, don't you know how to make banana bread? And so it's what you know how to do. If you've lost those skills, then everything that isn't at your immediate purpose, you say, oh, that's gone bad. I'm going to throw that away. Mash it up. Put an egg with it. Put a little flour with it. Make a pancake, or cook it in some other way. But I wanted to just go over the basics with you. Now, I keep a planner. It's a 2025 planner, and I donate to Boys Town, so they send me at least one a year. And some of the things that I recycle. And I started this in 2023, to actually keep track, because I thought, how much could I actually be doing? It seems like I'm doing a lot, but how much could I actually be doing? And at that time, I tried 1,000 pounds, and I came up almost with 2,000 pounds. I said, wow, this is really great. And the way I did that, the real push, was my neighbor up the street has a big yard, and he was taking his huge bag of grass clippings, and he was putting them out for yard trash, which we hope is going to a landfill. Excuse me. We hope it's going to a landfill where things are actually being recycled, that side of the landfill. And he brought hundreds of pounds, because we're in Florida and we cut our grass a lot. Also that year, he had big crepe myrtle trees, and he trimmed them and he put them through a chipper shredder, and he brought down 3 big bags, and that was like 136 pounds. It made the most beautiful mulch. If you can ever get a hold of mulch that you're chipping your own trees, it's the best. You know where it came from. But anyway, back to the deal. So the first year I did almost 2,000. The second year I said, well, I'll definitely do 2,000. And I did just over 2,000, almost 2,100. So I think 2,000 is probably it's going to be my average. And whether I keep track of it or whether I don't, I find that if you keep track of things, you stimulate yourself more towards doing a good job. It's like people saying, why do we have to get grades? Well, I think some people are very motivated to get a good grade because they want to be able to go, oh look, I got an A. Oh, I got a B, but I got a B plus. So as humans, we have a competitive spirit, and even if we're competing with ourselves, it's always good to have that. So on what do I recycle? And this is recycling just for me to put back into my garden. Not the glass that I recycle, not the papers that have windows or whatever, not the plastic jugs or containers that we recycle. That's separate. This is 2,000 pounds that I actually put back on top of my own soil. It seems like a lot. That's a ton in 1 year. So I do keep track of that. But here's what I add. I have my fruit and vegetable peels. I have eggshells. Avocado pits can be chopped up and ground up, and that can be used. My coffee grounds. We drink coffee every day. Hang on. Yes, we do. I also drink a mushroom coffee. I start my day out with that because I have an intestinal problem, and it kind of soothes everything before I add coffee to it. Too much information, I know. Our leaves. I have a big elm tree that I used to take those leaves and, half the time they were going down like a drain, and now I rescue everything. I used to rake them up and put them out for yard trash. And now I am really good about going out every morning and sweeping them up when they start to fall, and probably in September. And I'll have September, October, November, and into December for about 4 months. And I've gotten, last year I got just over 100 pounds. That's a lot of leaves. And by the way, I put those in containers and added a little bit of moisture to it. And if you want to see some beautiful, it's not really soil, but you know, it's turning into soil. But if you want to see a beautiful product, leaf mulch is just, I mean, it's heaven. It's beautiful. And my moringa, I grow moringa trees. And so I have all of the stems. I harvest my moringa for us to have. I let it dry out. I have a clean tablecloth. I lay it out, and I will bring a big branch and take all of the little sub branches and lay them out. And overnight, they'll dry to being crispy. And then I take those and crumble, and I put them through 2 grinders. One is a NutriBullet that breaks it down really well, except for little fine fibers. And then I have a coffee bean grinder, and I put it through that, and that makes it almost like dust. You have to be very careful you don't breathe it in. And then I put that through a tea strainer that's really fine, and it's really old, but I put that through that, and I still get out little bits of it. Well, I don't throw those little bits away, or any of it. I save all of it, and I feed that to my worms because I'm a worm farmer. A worm farmer, you ask? Yes, well, that's a different subject, but worms just, they are the real construction workers of the world. Those and ants, but I don't really want to keep ants. So worms we have. So we've gotten down to our moringa. All parts of a moringa tree will decompose, and flowers, of course. So these are 8 days old, and I did take them out and reworked the bunch and cleaned the stems, gave them a rinse, and gave them fresh water with just a little bit more what do I want to say, preservative in it. We used to call it something different. I can't remember what it was called. It was a particular brand. But anyway, it keeps your leaves fresh. If somebody gives you an arrangement, always remember that. If they say, you know, give it a fresh cut and put it in fresh water. If you take them out a few days later, rinse your stems, you know, and then do it again, and you will have a great shelf life on it. But those will go into it. Any of my paper towels, any of these rolls, I'm sorry I forgot to bring those over. Toilet paper rolls, my goodness. We as women go through toilet paper like, you know, like it's water. And all of these things that are cardboard based, whether you just throw it into your worm bin, whether you just throw it into your compost pile, they break down. I mean, it is amazing what you can do to feed. We feed ourselves, why not feed the soil? So whether you're growing something or not, I mean, it should be like your, I don't want to say your duty, your responsibility. It is your privilege to help the world. And if you look at it that way and you think of all the things that you can do, I don't care what other people are doing. The guy up the street throws his pizza boxes in our recycling, not mine, but his. At least he recycles. And I've been told that when they get that, a lot of times, even if it's the big dumpster that's coming along and they see these things, they chuck it because somebody has to climb in there and pull that out and safety issues. I can't help it. I can only do what I can do. And if somebody like you sees this and says, gee, I did that the last time. I'll remember, I'll do better next time. I did then what I knew how to do. Now that I know better, I do better. It was a quote from Maya Angelou, and I think it's brilliant. Back to this, our grass clippings, any of our shrubs, any of that. If you have a lawnmower, run over them with the lawnmower. If you don't, chop them into small pieces, and then put it in your compost. If you have worms, feed it to your worms. Our vacuum, when we vacuum, that goes into the compost. Dryer lint, if you have cotton clothing, put it into your worms or put it into that. Stale cereal doesn't go bad in my house, but if it goes bad in yours. Crackers, flour, rice, if you've cooked rice and you have too much. If you cook rice and you rinse it first, and you say, well, I just throw this down the drain, give it to your plants. If you have cans of corn, cans of peas that aren't heavily salted, and you drain that liquid off, give that to your plants. If you have frozen vegetables that, like I make spinach a lot, and the liquids, if I'm pressing the spinach to use it in something like, say, a quiche, and I have that liquid, that goes to my plants. It goes to my worms too. So all of those things can be reused, recycled, done. By liquids I don't weigh, but cork, if you have wine corks, they came from a cork tree. And what do we say? If it came from a tree, it can go back to the earth because it will eventually break down, although cork takes forever, as we know. And things like your popsicle sticks, any of these little things that you know, emery boards, you know, you file your nails and you have an emery board, all the things that don't have to go into the trash can. And the reasons, I made up a list of the reasons why I do it. To lessen my trash, to improve the soil, to grow organically. I grow to be more self-sufficient. Because my soil is better, whatever I grow is better. Whether it's blooms being better or whether it's fruits and vegetables being more nutrient dense. And also because it gives me a chance to step away from the chemicals being used in our food today. All that said, so what'd you do, Peggy? So let's go to, this was the week that started on our anniversary, July 27th, and went through until August 2nd. And this is week 31. We have 21 more weeks in the year. And this week was a good week because our friend Brian brought 39 pounds of grass clippings. And of course we are cutting our own grass, but we just have a small lot and that I have a lot of plants and stuff on. And so we only got 5 pounds, but we ended up with 58 pounds, 12.7 ounces. And after 31 weeks with that 58 pounds, 12.7 ounces, our grand total is 1,204 pounds, 6 ounces, 6.0 ounces. And I thought, gee, I was thinking we should have more, but if you take 52 and you divide it into 2,000, well, you come out with just under 40 pounds. So then I took the 1,204 pounds and 12.7 ounces and divided that by 31, and I came out with 38.888 pounds. So so almost 39 pounds. So I think I'm right on course. But the funny things I've noticed, and I'll end it with this, is that when I first started this, I had cardboard everywhere. I thought, geez, I've had these boxes lined up to put out for recycling, but I'm kind of hanging on to them because maybe I'm going to need it for something, maybe I won't. Well, then I started this project 3 years ago, and little by little I've gone, oh, I don't need those boxes. Then it was, I went through my filing drawers and I thought, oh, I don't need all these old papers. There's got to be 5 pounds of old paper here. And then I thought, oh, wait, I have another drawer. Oh, and then I have old calendars that I was saving because I thought, oh, I'll need those someday. You start to become much more independent in how you live when you live cleaner. You say, well, yes, this Waterford vase is a $200, $300, whatever it is, item. That I'm going to save. That I'm not going to. But I'm not going to save the flowers because they'll break down. The cards that Rick gave me, I must have had 20 years of Valentine's Day and anniversary and Christmas. Why am I saving all of these cards? I can barely get the drawer open anymore. So it's one thing to maybe save one or two. And granted, you can't use the glittery things, but you can recycle a lot of it. Even things like they ask for them at in old people's homes and in recreational communities. They can cut them and use them for different things. So you can always find a use for things rather than going, yeah, love Rick, okay, toss it. Find things to do with your things. And even if it's not something for you, if you can make somebody else's life better and it didn't cost you anything, why not? So that's where we are. This is the beginning of August. Here in Florida, we still have probably 8 weeks, a good 8 weeks of still very hot weather. I go out for a walk a little after. It's almost 6 o'clock. I'll clean up and go out for my walk. And when I open that door here, the garage will, even though it's 78 in the house, we keep it at, if I go out in the garage, it'll still feel like close to 90, and because of that burst of heat. And when I go outside, even though it's maybe only 80 degrees, that humidity at 96% will just hit you in the face. And so for people who say, oh, I couldn't live in Florida, if humidity gets you and you don't have air conditioning, which I can't imagine anybody living these days without air conditioning, best you stay up in some cooler area. So with that, I will say thank you so much. I really looked forward to doing this today because I feel like when I do it, I'm visiting your house for just a little while. And I don't really go out too much, but when I do, I feel like I'm visiting your house and I'm talking just to you. And I think you know who you are, my closer friends in YouTube world. People I actually pray for. When I go out in the morning, I take my walk and I say a rosary and I say, I hope that he's okay today. And I hope she's okay today. And I hope he takes the greatest pictures with his camera. And I hope so-and-so has a healthy day and doesn't have any returning cancer in their body or skin or whatever. And so anyway, I thank you very much. And I hope that those of you who are young and healthy and are having a great life will continue doing that and continue watching me. And if you haven't signed up and you haven't haven't subscribed to my channel, I hope you will. I hope you'll come back and see me again. Take care. Remember how this all started. Garden what you've got. And garden was the word that I used for use what you have. So with that, I will say, have a wonderful day. Take care. Remember, garden what you've got. Bye-bye.